Hello everyone. In case you missed one of my videos from last week, Arkham Shadow's brand new 1.4 update is out, adding all sorts of new stuff such as I Am the Night mode as well as multiple new challenge maps. After the update came out, I took a day and sped through I Am the Night mode, which I would also like to add, I was able to complete on my first try, granting me this fancy new golden batsuit.
You started this fight, I'll end it.
In today's video, we're going to look at some of the combat challenges that were added in this update as I try to get some of the highest scores possible, while also taking a little bit of time to vent about a game mechanic that has caused me a lot of frustration since I first got the game, so stick around for that. We started off with our first run of the new Crane's Nightmare map, which pays homage to Scarecrow's Nightmare map from Arkham Asylum. Essentially, it's another infinite combat challenge, but you have to go as long as you can without getting hit a single time. I knew it would be a challenge, but it was a challenge I was ready for. There's a mechanic on this map that I find incredibly interesting and a nice challenge, and it also reminded me of the actual Crane boss fight from the story mode, where after you beat a certain amount of enemies, you will temporarily be surrounded by a thick cloud of smoke, making it nearly impossible to see any enemies around you. In my first attempt at the map, I really struggled with this mechanic at the start, unsure of where to look or where to punch when it happens. My combos weren't really getting that high since I was trying to play it pretty safe and I was playing quite apprehensively. As time went on, however, I realized there was something that made this mechanic a lot easier to counter, and it was a mechanic that was so simple, yet one that I was so used to I almost forgot it was even there. The targeting mechanic. As I'm sure you are well aware of, when you make a fist and look at an enemy, a target will appear on the enemy that you're looking at, telling you that if you punch forward, that is who you're going to attack. Part of the reason that I had been so apprehensive in this blind state was because I didn't want to punch an enemy with a stun baton, which would make me take damage and lose the run. But this targeting mechanic makes my job 10 times easier, because I don't need to even see the enemy to know whether or not I can hit them. If I'm looking at an enemy that I can't hit, you will see this appear, and once I remembered that I had this ability, I wasn't even worried about the blind state anymore. Now, I know it's kind of a no-duh moment because it's such a basic mechanic, but it's one of those things that, in my opinion, you don't even think about once you've spent enough time in the game. Anyway, moving on. Once I got into a good groove, I also decided to not use any special combo moves anymore so that I could maintain my ability to counter shield and stun baton enemies while my shock gloves were active, meaning I mainly just needed to focus on who was attacking me at any given time, as well as the general location of certain enemies. As time went on, I learned what my real obstacle was going to be whenever I attempted this challenge. Firearm enemies. Now normally, they aren't a problem, but for some reason in this challenge I found them a struggle to deal with, and at the end of the day, it was the reason I lost. And I think part of what contributes to that is, from my observation, it seems like so many firearm enemies spawn in this map. Now, let me explain the game mechanic that I referenced at the start of the video, the one that I kind of wanted to vent about a little bit due to some frustration it's caused me in the past. So when I get a counter sign that indicates an enemy with a gun is about to shoot me, my first instinct is to dodge out of the way. Simple enough. But here's where a problem comes in. Let me explain a little mechanic when it comes to the combat of the game. As you're going through a fight, there are multiple moves that will move Batman up into the air, with different moves raising him different amounts, some of them being a little more obvious than others. The problem with this, however, is that some moves will only take you off of the ground maybe a couple of inches, just a small amount that a player may not even be able to notice mid-fight. So let's take a moment and look at the moment where I lost the fight. Now let's go back and watch it a little bit more slowly. You can see that right after I hit this enemy, the counter marker goes up. Typically, I have time to finish one quick punch before dodging. However, the move that I did was an uppercut, and because it was an uppercut, it raised me just a couple of inches off the ground. Now, out of force of habit, after finishing the move, I moved my left stick and clicked it to dodge, the way that the dodge mechanic works. However, when my dodge doesn't work, I begin to turn around trying to find the particular gun enemy targeting me so that I can use a batarang to stop them, which sometimes I'm able to use as a failsafe if I do it fast enough. However, because he was directly behind me and I had to do a complete 180 in order to get to him, I wasn't able to get the batarang off in time, leading to me taking damage and losing the run. You can even see me shaking my head out of frustration once I look at my score. This particular instance of only being a few inches off the ground and taking damage from it, or in this case dying, has actually been one of the most frustrating mechanics to me ever since I got the game. On the bright side, however, I did hit the number 5 spot on the leaderboard, so that's cool. Because I was frustrated in the outcome, I decided to take some time and play the extreme versions of a couple of different challenge maps to kill some time. First, I hopped into the premiere and beat that on extreme difficulty, giving me a brand new number 9 spot on the leaderboard before I hopped into the Stowaway Brawl, where I currently hold a number 4 spot on the leaderboard. And I'll save you some time, I did not end up placing any higher. After that short break, even though I actually was more tired by this point, I wanted to give Crane's Nightmare one more go, although, to be honest, I probably shouldn't have. Because I was tired after doing a couple of other challenge maps that were done in between these two attempts, it was harder for me to focus during this attempt, which led to me losing my combo a lot while trying to do this second attempt. It felt like the challenge was going on for forever because I just couldn't get my combo very high. Although eventually I did start to get into a little bit of a groove and was finally starting to see some good higher count combos. Unfortunately, this challenge had to end at some point. You want to take a guess as to how it happened? Well, would you look at that? I did an uppercut, was about an inch off the ground, couldn't dodge, and died to a gunshot. The footage that I have ends about 20 seconds after I died because I quickly took off my headset and stopped recording because, I'll be honest, I was pretty frustrated. But there you have it, my first foray into the new challenge maps in Arkham Shadow after the release of the 1.4 update. Now, I haven't had a chance to try it yet since the update, but I do want to give the Infinite Predator Challenge another go, so there's a decent chance that that'll be next week's video. What do you think of the new combat challenges? Have you beaten I Am the Night mode yet? How many attempts did it take you? Let me know down in the comments below. And until then, I'll see you all in the next video. Peace.